So when this movie is done with its box office, we're gonna actually compare this to one infamous Marvel movie, The Marvels, because I think that's the best movie to compare this to, and see if it has the same legs as Marvels does. But yeah, yeah. But Snow White is a flop, and Snow White. We talked about this in the other video, but Snow White is a huge failure. There is nothing Disney can do to make this a success. Disney is breaking their own record they had 2 years ago with Snow White being a failure. Not Snow White, The Marvels. Okay, does anyone remember that movie, The Marvels? Okay, but The Marvels, it was originally projected to open like $60 to $70 million, but then they realized how poorly The Marvels was selling, how poorly this movie was selling. Okay, how poorly the movie was selling. Of course, the fucking Rotten Tomatoes critics gave it 62%. You know, this is why people don't like Rotten Tomatoes anymore. Okay, fortunately, they gave Snow White a bad score, but estimated 45.5 million. A live action take of the 1947. And some people may make excuses for this movie, but this movie is a failure. However, at this level, we were told yesterday, it's in power of Dumbo's lackluster as well. And Dumbo was released very close to Endgame, which is the main reason why that movie didn't do too well. Same thing, same thing with Shazam. You know, those movies, they had to deal with Endgame. But when it comes to Snow White released against almost nothing. Okay, Snow White released against almost nothing. Okay, there were no new releases with Snow White. Okay, yeah. No major movies. When it came to Dumbo, whereas I know they're using Dumbo as they but Dumbo's had a bad stop. But no, Dumbo released against Endgame, Shazam, Captain Marvel, all these major movies. I know Minecraft is coming out in 2 weeks. That's like the best competition Snow White has. Okay. And that's another very, very divisive and polarizing movie. Even that movie is still projected to do better than Snow White is, which I find pretty funny as well. I think with the Minecraft movie, it's gonna be like the Emoji movie all over again. Okay, people are gonna be angry and upset over it, but it's gonna do well because it's just weird. It's not gonna be like Cats or Cats didn't do too well, but again, it was they launched Cats against Star Wars. With Minecraft, at least Minecraft is an IP that people actually do like, unlike Cats, which is a Broadway musical that nobody cares about that came out 30 years ago. And when it comes to Minecraft, that's the only real competition this movie has. Okay, we can go back to the box office of 2020, no, 2019, okay, as well, and look at the. I'm looking at my phone, obviously, but we can go back to the weekend. Okay, you have How to Train a Dragon release, which I think by the time Dumbo came out, that movie didn't really matter too much. Same thing of Medea. Oh, you have Captain Marvel. Well, you know, Us. That was another major movie. It opened to 71 million as well. Then we have Dumbo movies, and Us and Captain Marvel were still making money. Then we had the week afterwards. We have Shazam, and Dumbo wasn't really making much money on the April 12th on its third weekend, only making 9 million as well. But and then the week afterwards, Endgame came out. Okay, Dumbo was basically left behind because of movies like Endgame and stuff releasing. And yes, there's still a possibility Snow White still makes $100 million. Dumbo still managed to make $100 million domestically. But again, there was no massive controversies of Dumbo besides some scenes in the original movie that were removed because some people were upset they quote unquote censored the movie because they removed, scenes that had racist undertones. Because again, the movie was made in the 1940s. These, you know, as well here. But with Snow White, they want to change the story because they didn't like the idea of Snow White falling in love with a prince. Rachel Zegler hated that so much. Okay, she had to change the story of Snow White to make it appeal towards quote unquote modern audiences. And when it comes to Snow White, they really thought this was a good idea. They really thought this was a good idea to make a Snow White movie star very, very unpopular actors. Because even before Snow White, Rachel Zegler was very, very, very unpopular. Okay? Very, very unpopular. Okay? And also and also you can compare it to movies like Joker 2 and The Marvels, which also were supposed to do way better, but they had controversial movies as well. So I'm surprised they include The Marvels in there. But the Saturday numbers are not looking too great for Snow White. So B plus cinema score extremely low grade as well here. The critics didn't really like the Snow White movie all too much. Audiences really didn't like the Snow White movie. Let's look at IMDb having a 2.4 out of 10. I know some people claim it's just trolls, but yeah, that's trolls who are ruining the movie industry because because people reject swap. Yeah, those people they reject swap. Okay, but even like Little Mermaid, didn't really do too well. Little Mermaid cost like $300 million to make, and it still lost money for Disney. And Snow White is projected to do even worse than Little Mermaid. Okay, and also Little Mermaid will release during a holiday too. Okay, as well. So Little Mermaid will release during a holiday as well. But I think the difference between Little Mermaid is that the main controversy, was with the, race swapping of Ariel. Snow White has many, many controversies surrounding the movie. Many, many controversies. A very controversial actress that is hated. Okay, the difference between how I don't know what goes Little Mermaid name is Halle Bailey. I think that's her name. No one hates her like Rachel Zegler. Rachel Zegler is a polarizing figure like Brie Larson or Amber Heard. Okay, the actress of the Little Mermaid then go around on social media trashing the original story because it was not woke enough or was offensive or something like that. Okay, so the fans of the original Snow White movie and the Snow White story were offended and appalled. She would say something like that about the original story. Okay, that she would say something like that about the original story. And of course, he had the whole thing. Rachel Zegler having this giant meltdown about Trump winning the presidency. What I do think did impact this movie's as well. And also the fact that this movie is just a bad movie. It's a poorly put together movie. Okay, they had to reshoot it multiple times. They have the ugly CGI doors, which people do not like. The bad acting, bad story, and I watched the Little Mermaid remake. I watched it on the TikTok, I think. Because someone was actually like streaming the movie. I'm surprised they didn't get arrested for that. But they were streaming that and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Okay, the two newest movies that came out. Okay, but when it comes to Snow White, I don't remember how Bailey, trashing the original story. Okay. I don't remember Hal Bailey trashing the original story of The Little Mermaid. Outside of the whole ethnicity thing, the movie was basically mostly the same, but with just ugly CGI. I just don't like the Disney remakes overall as well. I feel like that the movie either way is a disrespect to the original animated animation. All Disney remakes, I believe, are disrespects to the original movies. The Lion King, Aladdin, Mulan, as well. Like, why do we need all these live action versions of the? Oh, I know why. It's because of what Mr. Krabs said. It's money. That's the main reason why they keep making these live action swap and movies. And the thing is, a lot of Little Mermaid. There's like 20 Little Mermaid movies, but the Disney one is, I think, the most popular one out of them all. Okay, but when it comes to the Little Mermaid, people didn't really. It was, people watched the movie and thought it was meh. But with Snow White, I think people realize that this movie is just garbage. Okay, that this Snow White movie was just garbage. I think that's the difference between, and I think the Little Mermaid on Metacritic does have a bad score because the movie wasn't that good, obviously as well. But also, yeah, the CGI does look pretty bad. But that's mostly, how modern Disney movies look. Okay. The main reason people don't like the Little Mermaid movie was mostly because of the CGI. That's the main reason people didn't like the movie as well. But but the main backlash to Snow White was her comments towards the original Snow White movie. The fact that she decided to trash the original movie, which I think is the main reason why people don't like the movie. Yes, the CGI sucked in the movie, but again, many modern movies with bad CGI have made money. Okay, as well, and have done pretty well. Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness is an example of a movie with some pretty laughably bad CGI, and that movie still made money. Okay, but with Snow White, I just don't think this movie is gonna make any money. I don't think Snow White, and also when it comes to woke stuff and woke ideology as well, I think Little Mermaid was released before the whole Bud White. Okay, the whole Bud White thing started at the beginning of May, but the whole Bud White thing I think was the beginning of the end for the woke. Okay, as well. At least for Little Mermaid, they had people defending the movie as well. But even then, 2023 was still a terrible year for Disney. Little Mermaid was actually the second best performing movie for Disney that year. Every movie Disney released that year actually did worse than Little Mermaid, which I find pretty funny. Yeah, Little Mermaid was still a box office failure. Okay, Little Mermaid needed to make like $800 million to break even. Okay, and the movie did okay. Okay, it did okayest at the box office. Okay, but the budget for the movie is I think like 300 million. They actually, Wikipedia says 250 million, but they actually said the actual budget for the movie is 750 was $300 million. The movie named, and I think Snow White is probably the same thing too. And a lot of people are saying the movie's budget is 270 million. No, 270. The movie still needs to make fucking 675 million to break even as well. Yeah, Disney really screwed on this one. And now let's talk about who are the people. So the people who didn't go up with the original tunes didn't go see the movie. Oh, soccer, that Gen Z and Gen Y or millennials then go see the crappy Snow. And it's almost like the younger generations are starting to actually wake up, including myself, to the woke stuff as well. And I think the finally starting to realize that we do not want this bullcrap in our movies. Okay, we don't want this bullcrap in our movies, and and I think the main reason why people went to go see the other ones, I think the Little Mermaid, if they didn't have that controversial casting choice, the movie would have made $1 billion, like The Lion King or Aladdin did, because of nostalgia. Okay, but we can look at the demographics for Snow White. Most of the people who watched the movie were female as well. Not many younger people went to go see the movie, but most of the people who went to go see the movie were 25 to 34 years old. You would think because they have a Hispanic actress in the movie would basically be majority people who are, no, it's actually still majority Caucasian, with 25% Hispanic and Latino. And actually Asians went to go see the movie. And 7% Native Americans, that's other. But this movie is a huge failure. They really thought that they really think that. It's funny. Kung Fu Panda And movies like Kung Fu Panda and Godzilla perform better with Hispanic audiences, which I find pretty funny, than a movie about an ad with an actual literal Hispanic person as the main lead. Oh yeah, Godzilla, which is a movie about a giant monster who fights other giant monsters, and Kung Fu Panda is about a panda who saves the world from evil animals. Those movies are more relatable. Or Mario, a movie about an Italian plumber who goes to a different world to save a princess from an evil turtle. That's more. That's what people actually want to see. Not this garbage. Not this, bull crap that Disney keeps trying to shove down people's throats. Okay, the fact that the Godzilla movies, despite, according to critics, the questionable quality, people keep going to see those movies, but no one wants to go see this. It can really tell you one thing about the current box office. People are sick and tired of Disney's bullshit. People are sick and tired of Disney's bullshit about, all this stuff. And I think with The Little Mermaid, the movie will sort of made, it's a movie that sort of made $1 billion. The Little Mermaid is one of the more popular Renaissance movies. And look at Beauty and the Beast. And, of course, Lion King and Aladdin, it sort of made $1 billion. But it did not because no one liked because the movie was so controversial. And Snow White, the thing is, Rachel Zegler trashed the original Snow White movie. Trashed the original story. And this is what you get when you trash the original story. When you trash the original story that Walt Disney has created. So yeah, Rachel Zegler, well, guess what? You're going to be losing a lot of money on this crap. On your bullshit. Goodbye.